Hey, Thanassis, nice to see you here at the Analytics Summit this year. Thank you so much for flying in. I think that was an incredible presentation you just gave. Maybe we start a quick recap on you and then also on the talk. So maybe just share some insights about you, about your role at Adevinta.
Sure, no problem. Thanks for having me, Hannes. So I'm Thanassis. I am leading global analytics teams at Adevinta, especially in marketing and in advertising. And so what we do is we are a leader in classifieds globally and focusing on European marketplaces with a re-commerce main activity and also verticals about, for instance, mobility or real estate or other verticals as well. The talk I gave a bit earlier was about how do you treat data as a product to bring value to the business. And it's what we are trying to do, so I shared it more as a journey rather than something that we are completely at the end of the journey yet. So we're not at the end of the journey yet. But it's really how do you treat data not as a big monolithic thing, but how do you actually use this to be closer to the business and to the business use cases and to add value, right? So not data for data and tech for tech, but really focusing on how can you help the business decision maker to take data-driven decisions and to move further.
Yeah, amazing. And before we just go deep into the questions and into the weeds, maybe just let's go back for a second to Adevinta and your product. So over here in Germany we have eBay Kleinanzeigen, and I'm obsessed with concerts. So unfortunately I won't be able to get any concert tickets for the Distillers in Hamburg. So I just submitted the search request on eBay K to get these tickets if they are on the marketplace. So you're from Spain, so your platform is Mil Anuncias.
Yes.
Mil Anuncias. So what are you looking for? What are you searching for?
So actually I have some running queries, and this is completely true. I have queries around either hi-fi systems or keyboards, so rare keyboards that are not made anymore, such as Fender Rhodes, for instance. Also Hammond B3 organs, but this is I'll never have those at home because they're too big, but I'm just curious to see if one is available.
Amazing, yeah. So we are both into music, that's great. You were introducing treating data as a product in your organization, and you are actually talking to a guy who was also in product for several years. So that already gave me some ideas. But let's start in the beginning of a product. You need to measure, or you need to collect the requirements from your users, from your audience in the company. So can you maybe elaborate a bit how you facilitate this process in gathering requirements and gathering what is actually in demand, because demand is changing all the time,
yes,
right?
That's very true. And to be honest, you have, for me, you have two ways to do that. The first one, which is the most usual one, the more classic one, the most traditional one, which is actually going periodically to your business users and say, hey, are you satisfied? What do you need? How can we help you? And then do some specifications, maybe a workshop in collecting requirements, as you said. But what I'm a big fan of is actually to move the analytics teams, the domain owners, closer to the actual business users, so that they're real partners and that they're embedded in. Can be very easy things, right? It can be just attending the weekly meetings. It can be going through the reviews, the sprints, etc. Just to be all the time very aware and embedded in this kind of a decision and understanding what is best, because you don't know what you don't know, and you can very well say, okay, tell me exactly what you need, but maybe you don't know exactly what's possible, and if I have the skill set of being an analytics person, and at the same time I have this other skill set of understanding your business topic, your business domain very well, I can be actually adding value just by being able to connect those two.
Yeah. So it's basically the Ford question, right? What do you need? Cars or more horses to to make your coaches faster,
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, got it. Then when you create these products, and I understood it, you are democratizing like the whole process very much. So you don't want to create bottlenecks, right? And you give power to everyone who needs data. What is your approach in the delivery? It is like a full-blown solution, like a full-blown tool which everybody can use, or is your approach more providing access to data and then see what happens with it?
Yeah, and I think what's interesting is it's actually both, because the iterative process that I was talking about is exactly the fact that some data products that are very close to the very raw operational data source, sometimes we call this the golden source, are able to be used either directly by the users, right, or by other data products as well. So I think it's both in the sense that, for instance, if you talk about reporting, if you talk about scorecards, you provide it. You can provide data layers, you can provide simple scorecards, cockpits, but you can also provide like reports in which you can drill down. You can also provide things that are being used by algorithms, by models, etc. So the answer is really that it depends, and it is iterative. So it's not like we completely define up front what we're going to do, how it's going to be used. We start with, of course, generally what's closer to the data source, and then we iterate and we build on this and we build on that, etc.
Yeah, got it. So it's not like you are making like super large concepts of moonshots, but you try to start and have it in an agile way, or?
So definitely agile, definitely iterative, because you give like more deliveries, right? And also you can adjust along the way. To be honest, there is a concept that I'm personally not completely in love with, which is called build things you didn't know that you would need. I think it's exactly, it's not exactly that, but it's more or less that. I think the reality of companies is that nobody has time for that, right? So the reality is prioritization, understanding where you bring most value, right? And delivering this and then moving to the next step. As opposed to building a huge, let's say, toolkit of everything that's possible, and then see who will use it.
Yeah, got it. So once you created that product, so actually you gave birth to the product, and it certainly has a certain lifetime. It's starting. When and how do you assess the quality? Because always when I talk to people working in data analytics, there's always doubt, there's always interpretation in data, and it can be like a lot of conversations around data quality and how do you assess it?
Yes,
defend it.
It's true. No, like it's true, and it's real world, like I said. So data is faulty, data is messy, data is sometimes approximate. So what you need to do is, for me, what is key is communication, in the sense that you need to be a bit clear up front about like what people expect, and when there are things that are not perfect, which happens all the time, that you need to flag it or to announce it, etc. So when you talk about data quality, usually you have some like certain sort of standard, and it depends a bit of the application. If you talk about like BI reporting, you could have a certain threshold of error, which is fine. If you have things in production, right? If you have things in payment, if you have things, etc., you can't afford sort of any mistake. So the level of the sort of SLA, you could say, depends a bit on the application. And what is important is to have this sort of agreement up front, right? Sometimes it can be called a data contract, sometimes it can be called an SLA. But the clarity, the documented clarity on the data part. And in the data mesh concept in general, you do have this, right? You do have the documentation, the discoverability, etc., on the quality of the data that you're going to deliver.
Yeah. So you always have to accept some kind of uncertainty in the beginning, probably, and then the more data you collect and the more you can compare and also discuss, the more it's accepted at the users?
Yeah, again, it depends, right? So if we talk about invoicing again, like you can't accept, you don't want to accept anything, you don't want to provide this to your users, etc. When it's an internal, like I don't know if you want an example, there's this topic about location, for instance, right? Location of your users, things like that, and per definition, this thing is approximate. Sometimes is not published. Sometimes it's there's a default value when this data is not available, and so those things. And it's not too bad, right? It's not too like it will not. You're not building a nuclear submarine, right? So
we are not.
I'm not at least. So.
These times are over. And once quality is assured and product is out and running, when you think about enabling digital analytics use cases, what do you think are the key features you are looking at? So if you look at Google Analytics, but also other products you may use in your domain, what are the features where you would recommend looking at, which are relevant to you, or which you think might be relevant in future?
So, well, of course, the thing that all marketeers are already or very soon going to be confronted to is I think what a few years ago was the promise of the ultimate one-to-one personalization at scale is something that we already started like moving away from a few months or a few years back. So the question is, how do you replace this promise, right, and this promise of absolute measurement with estimations that go through modeling in order to be, compliant with, first of all, the wishes of your users in terms of privacy, in terms of what you do with their data, what you collect, etc. Also legislations, obviously. But as a marketeer, how do you assess the efficiency of what you do? How do you assess how you're going to allocate the next campaign? What's your next step, etc. Those things we need end models, right? So we need like technical tools that are going to be approximations. And we also need a way of working that is a bit new, that is a bit like to be a bit more comfortable with uncertainty in the way we actually continue to do marketing, continue to do advertising, because this, I'm convinced, will not stop.
Yeah, interesting to see this coming back. I'm now 20 years in the business, and I was a lot in traditional market research. So there was always this discussion about research panels versus behavioral data, and that was going on for some time. And now the pendulum is going back to more modeling and working with samples, with great quality instead of having data points for everything. I think if you look specifically on the Google platform. Can you maybe give a glimpse on what's the role of the Google platform in your company, and what do you think is the promise behind it, and why you're using it?
So we use Google quite a lot. So that is one of our partners that we rely on, both on the marketing side and on the advertising side. So when I say advertising, it's on the publisher side, right? We're one of the biggest publishers in Europe in that field. And what Google offers, let's say, which is quite unique compared to other solutions, is the ecosystem, right? So the fact that the different products of the suite talk well to each other. So Google Analytics, Google Ads, Google Ad Manager, Google Search Console, etc., etc. They talk the same language. So this brings value, right? There's no stitching. There's no cracks. There's no this kind of things. Now, what we expect is that these things continue to deliver value in this very changing environment that we all know about the cookie crumble, about everything around privacy, about cross-device, about consent. So these are evolving. The products are evolving as well, but we are still to see how this will actually materialize in 1-2 years from now, when we will have only these tools at our disposal.
Hey, Thanassis, thanks for giving these these insights into how you manage data as a product. Was a pleasure to see you also on stage earlier. I think everybody was was amazed by your presentation and was thinking, okay, that could have gone 30 minutes more even. So I hope we can come back to that. Before closing, maybe you can share also your experiences from the day you had today at the Analytics Summit, how you liked it and what did inspire you.
I think it was first of all, it's a great setup. In terms of those two large stages, the interventions that have followed were always quite in-depth and quite transparent. I like this because it's at the same time big enough and not too big, so we could have direct connections with the speakers, and the venue is amazing. So well done.
And the weather is right.
And the weather, absolutely. Thanks for having me, and looking forward to the rest of the program.
Yeah, thanks for your time, Thanassis, and see you soon.